In Tulkarem's refugee camps, there were once whole lives lived within these walls. A neighbourhood emptied out and then destroyed by Israel, a country still responding to the horrors Hamas inflicted inside its homes. Now the war is intensifying again in the occupied West Bank, but a 15-year-old boy was one of its first victims, just days after October the 7th. Taha had been throwing stones at Israeli troops when they opened fire. That's his sister's screams you can hear.
He's my father. He's my man, you know. I miss him.
Sarah explains how her father Ibrahim rushed to help her brother. He was also hit and died 4 months later in hospital.
When he goes to Taha, he's screaming. You know, he's screaming, it's my children, it's my kid.
I've come to meet Sarah now because the war still wasn't done with her family. 7 weeks ago, Israeli bulldozers demolished the home that held all of their memories. It's left the 3 generations who lived there displaced and distraught.
The house is destroyed. Where? Everything you see just destroyed, 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 destroyed. Houses in down, you know, so difficult.
And while the Israeli military insists it's helping to enable the repair of damaged infrastructure, that doesn't include homes. It's also reiterated its soldiers take measures to minimise harm to uninvolved individuals. Israel says all of this is necessary to dismantle terrorist infrastructure, which could be used against them. But the people that used to call this camp home have been told they can't come back for at least a year. And when you look at how little is left, you wonder if there's any intention to let them return. But it's not the first time they've had to flee their homes. The West Bank's refugee camps were set up for Palestinians displaced from Israel by the 1948 war. A safe homeland for the Jewish people seen as a necessity after the Holocaust. Now this place is increasingly squeezed by Israeli checkpoints and settlements, so it's not easy to find housing for the displaced. But in a shelter on the outskirts of Jenin, children are making the best of it. A converted school has its upsides for them, but is no place for the elderly or sick.
Where are you sleeping?
Yes.
Like Halima, who was recovering from lung cancer when the bulldozers arrived.
Everything inside the house was damaged.
It's all gone?
Even the windows, doors.
She shows me around the cramped floor that now holds 18 families. She just wants to be home.
1 year to stay outside? What will happen? It is very hard. The biggest worry is to stay outside the camp, not to allow us to go back. It is the biggest problem.
It's an even more makeshift existence at this shelter in Tulkarem, which is packed with young children. With no school, parents do their best to distract them, but fear what lies ahead. There's no future for them, says Ramzi, but we won't make the same mistake as 1948. We will die in our land. We won't leave. I am a child of the camp, like my father and grandfather before me, she sings. The longing for home so fierce here, on both sides and across the generations. It is right at the heart of this conflict. Rachel Younger, ITV News, Tulkarem.